But if you're on my channel, you're ready for it. You're ready for it. Because if you're on my channel, you've seen the typical talking points and you want something more for yourself. You want something more. You actually want change. That's what the Steelies are all about. Forge through the fire, baby. Forge through the fire. Steel. Steel standing. Okay. All right. Y'all, welcome back. Steelies, welcome. You know, one thing I don't talk a lot about is insecurities, at least not on here. I talk a lot more about it on my Patreon. One, I don't believe YouTube deserves all that transparency, but also I think that it's important to be optimistic and most importantly, to provide solutions. So let's talk about the Dababy Gotti music video. I haven't even seen it. I just seen clips, okay? Other people are talking about it. It's not my thing. I only invest in things that invest in me. I'll put it that way, you know, willingly at this point in life. I think that's why a lot of adults kind of listen to music of their youth. My favorite hip hop music is always usually YMCM, YCMB, Young Money Cash, Young YMCM. You know, Drake, Nicki Minaj, of course. It takes a lot now for me to be invested in new music. That being said, you gotta connect the dots. There's a lot of dots that y'all not connecting as to why you consistently see lack of Black women representation in hip hop music videos. And for me, honestly, if we're not going to be like the lead romantic character, I don't even care. I don't even care. I like when Black women are the lead romantic character, that like the guy is wooing the whole video. You know what I'm saying? And then like at the end, he's like, I can never get her. I mean, you couldn't have had I Like Big Butts without Black women. It wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have made sense because the BBL wasn't being done at that time. Certainly not like that, if it was, right? And certainly it was probably just concrete at that point. It was just concrete. But that was like an ode to beauty as well as, you know, a hip hop dance video, right? A lot of times it's a lot less dancing and a lot of just, you know, shaking. And that's fine. I mean, we've already acknowledged that you live in a colorist society, right? We've already acknowledged that. So if you connect the dots, what the repercussions of that are, and what that looks like, right? What that manifests into is in genre and artists that you believe should be supporting and reflecting you the way you're supporting and reflecting them, right? You're gonna get a lot less of that. I noticed none of the women were wearing bonnets. People took the conversation way left and were talking about, I can't wear a bonnet to sleep. Yeah, that's the point, to sleep. You know, there's been a lot of talk recently about the TikTok videos, which I only see because they trend on social media. This is not stuff that comes across my feed.
When y'all gonna stop bashing us? Sometimes we just need somebody to listen to us. And that's the problem. Who's really there fighting for us? But yet we always on the front line fighting for y'all.
I'm a little beyond that, but I understand, obviously, there's a lot of young women. And I think it would have been great if I could have had these conversations. These same type of conversations could have been had when I was in college. This is stuff that I never really articulated while I was going through it. And it wasn't till I was well into now 11-year relationship with my husband, right? It wasn't until I was, you know, well into that relationship that I started hearing these conversations. So I had a different perspective on it. So I want you guys to understand that. Y'all have a right to have these conversations, but be mindful of how you're having them, because there's long-term repercussions for everything, right? And I think the internet teaches you that, you should be impulsive. And if you're looking to get top tier, high quality men, a partner, what have you, that's not a good format. Is it colorists for these hip hop artists that y'all support to have videos where y'all don't see any sort of representation of yourself? I think you gotta know the source, right? And adjust your expectations accordingly. When we talk about answers, right? When we talk about solutions, that is a solution. Y'all don't want to do that, because it means practicing mindfulness and accountability on your end. You can't expect nothing from nobody. That's the facts of it. Now, should you be able to? Yes. Yeah. But you can't. You can't. I swear to God you can't. Ooh. I swear to God you can't. Okay? So, what you can do is adjust your expectations accordingly. That's one solution that I see to this. Support people who support you, period. And when you're doing that, you'll notice that it doesn't matter what people you don't support do. It does not matter. Because you're like, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, well, I don't support you anyways, right? I'm not helping pay for the video. There's nothing wrong with a little discretion. There's nothing wrong with keeping certain conversations in one place and putting on a brave face, if you will. I never complained about the fact that my experience at PWIs was that Black men in those spaces preferred lighter to non-Black women. Right? Also, I was very reserved. Okay, so I will completely admit that. I was very reserved. And guess what? A lot of Black women are reserved, and we're not admitting that to ourselves. We're like, oh, the Lord and the Lord. These dudes don't care about the Lord. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. These dudes don't care about the Lord. Not when it comes down time to like spending time with a woman. Yeah. I'm sorry if nobody told you that, okay? You should have learned it by now, with your strong devotion to Kitten Scammules. Y'all kittens love coming to my videos talking about some, hey, Kitten Scammules said that. I don't care. I don't watch him. I don't listen to him. I watched a few videos of his to give a few critiques. I don't listen to people who spread misinformation, because it's all about agendas. It's not about truth. Stop coming to my channel talking about something. He said that. I don't care if he said it. I'm not watching his channel. So I'm not taking his talking points. Everything I say, I've been saying. My channel hasn't switched up. A lot of y'all channels switched up. Switched it up. My channel has not switched up. Period. I've been saying these same things since I started this channel. Years ago. The most expectations you should have in this life are towards and of yourself. So, I haven't seen the video because I don't support things that don't support me. So it is what it is. Maybe I'll come across it at some point, but whatever. I saw all the clips. They have the women in the video that they have. I don't care. I don't care. I feel my channel is distinguished from most other channels that you will see that you think are similar. I'm very particular. I'm very focused on finding solutions, because that's the kind of content that interests me. So when I see this issue, when I see all these young women saying that, we don't feel accepted or embraced or beautiful, right? Or wanted or valued, I think it's important to focus on how you can take control of that. And how you can take control of that is these simple things. Understanding that you can't depend on anyone and no one owes you anything, and that's tough, but it's a part of adulting. There was a young woman on Twitter, and she was saying that she left her car at her friend's house, and she came back and found out that her friend had put a significant amount of mileage on the car and drove it out of town and back. She had asked her to hold on to this car because she couldn't afford the $300 that it would cost for her to pay for parking. A part of adulting is understanding that in hindsight, you would have preferred to pay the $300 for parking, or not left and gone out of town and told people I can't afford to make this trip out of town, right? You wouldn't say, well, my friend will do this for me. Who is your friend? What does that mean, right? You'll find yourself constantly disappointed if you're constantly depending on other people. The more you depend on yourself, the better off you'll find you'll be. And that's really a part of the adulting process. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask for help and that people won't give you help. What that means is don't count on it, don't depend on it. So only support people who support you. Take accountability for everything that you can. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean blaming yourself and being hard on yourself. That's not what it means. But when something goes bad for me, I think, what could I have done to not have that happen again? What can I do now? That's what I think. I don't think about conversations that I need to have with the other party necessarily, especially if it's not an ongoing relationship or communication, right? I only think about how can I make sure that I'm always taking care of myself? Connecting the dots, right? When you're fighting to wear bonnets everywhere you go, that's not a move that's gonna elevate you. So you can do it or not, but you have to understand about connecting those dots. Like I said, you're more than welcome to. That doesn't matter to me, but you can't pretend to not understand. Connect the dots and understand what it all means. Practicing mindfulness is gonna be key. Continuing to do the work to focus on yourself so that you're not worried about someone who doesn't support you anyways is doing. I know that's hard, that's the hard work, but if you're on my channel, you're ready for it. You're ready for it. Because if you're on my channel, you've seen the typical talking points and you want something more for yourself. You want something more. You actually want change, right? That's what the Steelies are all about. Forge through the fire, baby. Forge through the fire. Still standing. Okay. And my final point is going to be in terms of education. I see a large agenda to dissuade and discourage Black women from attaining their higher education. For you all that do that, I'm gonna tell you this. I have a PhD, right? I have a PhD, no I don't. I did earn my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. It was extremely a lot of hard work, and it was through going through those schools that I ended up connecting with my husband. And, you know, he saw what I was doing and saw that I was doing something with my life whilst he was doing something with his life. That attracted us to one another. For people to dissuade you from the opportunities that you will get from being in an academic institution and the networking opportunities and the employment opportunities, and just the discipline that you learn from going to school and completing a degree and working hard, right? Not giving up, doing the work and really doing it. For people to dissuade you from that, that's not people who have your best interest at heart. Going to college teaches you discipline, the discipline of getting up every day and working hard to achieve something. And you're gonna need that when you graduate, because you're still gonna have to do that type of hard work to succeed in this life. That's a great place to network, to learn the focus and discipline you need to have success throughout your life, and potentially meet a husband and or valuable partner, right? So there's nothing but positives that can be gained from this. And the most important positive I think that I've learned from my higher education has been critical thinking. Critical thinking is something that is not encouraged, not only, you know, in smaller communities, but on a larger scale. It's not encouraged because if you did, you know, things would change dramatically. And they don't want that. America is an interesting place where escapism meets consumerism meets capitalism, and everybody's having a ball, right? And nobody's paying attention to what's actually going on. So they're not going to encourage you to critically think because they don't want you paying attention to what's actually going on. Critical thinking is very important when we're talking about moving strategically, which is something that I emphasize all the time on the Purpleprint. Make sure to check those video series out because the Purpleprint is something that no one else on YouTube can give you. It is because of my unique life experiences that I'm able to share all of the valuable information that I have shared with all of you. Back to getting your education. Get your education on. Don't let anybody stop you. Men love educated, focused, driven women, okay? Now, nobody likes somebody that's so focused and working so hard that they ignore the other person and makes the other person feel like they're not valuable. You can definitely find a good man and be educated, okay? In fact, I think that's where you'll find a lot of really good men, right? Is through getting an education. And if you critically think, that'll help you to be better when it comes at vetting and just a more interesting, well-rounded person. I'm happy to offer you guys solutions when I see these problems. One thing that's never gonna happen on my channel is that I'm gonna repeatedly talk about the same thing and harp on the problem. That's not something that I believe in. And of course, that's what makes people thrive in this space, and I understand that. But again, I'm hyper-focused on solutions, and I think that it's great when we can convene with one another and talk things out with one another and share and learn from each other, right? This has been another edition of the Purpleprint. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
He's not a provider, he's gonna give up, he's gonna stop.